Let's move on to the next story here, which I think is mine. I'm calling this the Mormon media moment because it seems like every week we have something to talk about that's out there in Mormon media. I just put this slide together. Of course, we've got Heretic still playing big in the theaters. I had the chance to go to a screening that John DeLynn put on and talk to some of the producers, writers. It was amazing. I've seen it 3 times now. Every time a different takeaway. Just amazing.
I'm sorry, that screening was a week ago tonight, wasn't it?
It was. And I know at the time. Okay. So I had shingles. Then one night I rose up out of my sickbed and felt great and went to that. The next day, dropped dead in bed.
Right. And before that, you were telling us that you couldn't make it on the newscast. Yeah, and then we found out later that you'd gone out on the town to some kind of screening. It wasn't
really out on the town. It was called rallying at the 11th hour when you get a phone call and you're like, sure, I'll try. So I did. I admit it looks bad. It probably is bad. Anyway, Heretic doing awesome. We've got Secret Lives of Mormon Wives renewed for another season. The Real Housewives, of course, I don't even know what season they're up to. They're going strong. We have a movie coming out in January, American Primeval, about the Mountain Meadows Massacre. But the one I'm going to mention tonight is one that's going to premiere on Bravo on Wednesday. And this is really interesting. It's called Sold on Salt Lake City. And again, all LDS or LDS adjacent cast. And these are realtors that are out there making the big bucks in Salt Lake because it is a hot market out here. I'm telling you, nobody can afford anything except for these beautiful people. So I think we will start with a little promo here if Bill can play that.
I am Jennifer Yo, CEO of Presidio Real Estate. The amount of women that create brokerages in the state of Utah and succeed, I would say 1%.
Do I look like a boss?
Yeah.
Good. When I started the brokerage, I literally couldn't even afford a printer. But last year, we sold $1.2 billion. And I couldn't have done it without the best team in the business.
I'm feeling like chartering a helicopter, hang glide down into it. I mean, that's cool. That's cool.
Will you give us an opening prayer?
And dear Holy Father, thank you for this day.
God is in this brokerage.
People in Utah might follow the 10 commandments, but at my brokerage, we follow the Jen commandments. Thou shalt always be selling.
Potentially have 3 laundries.
Women in Utah County are going to love that. We have to have a guest house. We want a spray tan station. We have to have a salon in our house.
You have a buyer? No? Thou shalt always be professional.
If you can't take the heat, stay out of the strip club.
Shots on the entrance.
Only in real estate can you drink on the job. I don't fully agree with our church as far as drinking and partying. Of course I get side-eyed, but in my mind, I'm looking at them like this and then going like this. Does anyone know what this means in Utah? Are you a swinger?
She's a swinger.
As women in this industry in a male-dominated state, you got to grow a pair.
What is happening over there?
Yes! And I'm talking a pair of these because I feel like women are stronger than men.
Thou shalt not steal my agents. 2 of my brokers go over to your brokerage. It feels like some shady business going on.
I have nothing to hide. I'm pretty much sleeping with the enemy. Oopsie. Sorry, Jen.
Thou shalt never let emotions ruin a deal.
You've been offended for a year?
You call me gold digger. What I thought was a friendship was just business. Thou shalt never speak unkindly of another agent.
You don't ever tell a girl to calm down.
I don't give a You 3 are insatiable.
Victim, victim, victim.
I'm going to tell you something wild. I have it. It's about a concept.
What else is he hiding?
You have a secret.
What do you know that I don't know?
You know what I know.
Matt. Yeah, my mic's off. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Call me inmate instead of agent.
That's very in for 2024 black and white stripes.
So who's going to watch this, Rebecca?
Oh, everybody is going to watch it. Are you
Really?
kidding? Although I
But
did
it's
see some
saying-
people in the chat saying make it stop. So maybe not every.
And please help my mommy stop drinking. And please
Thank
help my
you for
mommy
this day.
stop swinging. And please help my mommy sell the houses.
Mommy, I want to go in the spray tan center. Okay. Yes, I do live in the heart of Utah County, and none of that is exaggerated at all. I'm not kidding. So what I find really interesting about this, and I'll just go into a little bit more detail and then we'll move on. I know some people are weak. I'm sorry. So remember all the fuss and the media statements from the church about heretic and about secret lives? There's nothing that I can find about this. Maybe someone else can find it. I've been looking, and so it just makes me think maybe the church, I mean, their claim about the other programs where this does not represent Mormonism, right? So maybe a show where you're a cutthroat business person rising to the top, stepping on everyone around you, no ethics, no morals. Maybe they can't quite make that claim. I don't know. Fully immersed in MLMs and the tech sector, I'm not sure why they have not come out equally strongly against this, because it seems to have a lot of the same elements as some of the other programs. So the Tribune came out and said, meet the latest Salt Lake City reality star, a Utah real estate broker. Bravo is sold on SLC. And they did get their start by one of them appearing on The Real Housewives and brokering a deal for one of the housewives. And then, so kind of a spin-off scenario where that's how she got to be known. So it says sold on Salt Lake City shows Yeo and 5 of her agents as they navigate the Utah real estate market, meeting well-off clients, showing homes to prospective buyers. It also highlights the agents and their interpersonal drama. And because this is Bravo, there's plenty of drama to be had, as you could see by all the women and men crying profusely in that clip we just saw. Utah has been ranked the 8th most expensive housing market among all 50 states. And Yale says, and our real estate values have gone up dramatically in the last 10 years. I think that the nation is starting to look at us and go, what the heck is going on over there? And this is very true, extremely true. And I will tell you, it's because you have tech on one side and MLMs on the other side. There is extreme wealth in Utah, and it's the kind of wealth that people like to show by their guest house. And there's Freytown Center and all of that. It's a side of Mormonism that I think the church probably hopes people don't recognize, but it is absolutely alive and well and there, and people can afford this. Sold on Salt Lake City also emphasizes, at least early in the series, the influence of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on the agents' lives. I'm sure you could see that reflected in the promo, the influence of the church on their lives. Yes. And Utah's culture. How did she pronounce it? Yo? Yay?
Yo.
I'm saying it wrong.
I think it was just like yo.
Yeah. Identifies, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, identifies as a former member of the faith, while Martindale identifies herself as Christian. So different people are different stages of Mormonism. They're estimated that about half of the business clients are LDS. And I think the world looks at LDS people and they're peculiar and they love learning about them. It's always woven to all our lives here in Utah, whether you're LDS or not, you don't get to get away from it. So as we saw, there's a clip of a little girl saying a prayer, just like in Secret Lives. I think they're going to show the agents at home. And according to these bios here, I'll just read these really quick and then we'll get away from this segment. All of them seem to have quite a lot to do with the church. So Tanya Edwards is a mother of 2, a lesbian and former member of the Latter-day Saint faith, who in the first episode confronts another agent on a rumor that could hurt her business in selling to the Latter-day Saint clients. So she's playing that delicate dance of, having to get along with the LDS. Malaysia is a married mother of 4. Her bills herself as Mormon 2.0, which is a phrase we learned in The Real Housewives. And she is back at the firm after leaving to a competing firm for a year. Matt Jones, a married father of 4 and devout Latter-day Saint. So one of those guys there that you saw in the clip is a devout Latter-day Saint, and he's struggling to take his business to the next level.
Is that the guy with the abs?
I can't tell. There were 2 guys. They were both crying and they both had abs. That's why we have to watch the series. We've got to sort this out. So. Sarah Martindale, born in Brazil, has 2 children, runs one, and her husband runs one of the biggest rivals. So I think that's why you saw that scene where she said, I'm sleeping with the enemy. So there's going to be a lot of, rivalry, infighting. And then Kenny Sperry, also a Latter-day Saint, married with 3 children, and credits his faith to helping him through struggles earlier in life. So these guys are LDS, and this is their show. And this is what they're going to be doing. So I'm going to tune in for a couple episodes just to see. But to me, the interesting thing is I have not seen anything coming out against this. No more media statements, nothing like that. And I just found that to be kind of interesting. They're just kind of let this ride, or have they given up? What do you guys think?
I don't know. Maybe it could be subsumed in some of their earlier statements, which were somewhat generic.
Yeah, possibly.
Or these guys are successful business people, and we like that in Mormonism.
And if they're faithful, they're paying tithing. This is the thing. Every billion-dollar house they sell, there's going to be some tithing there. So,
not to mention income from the show.
Income from the show. That's what I'm saying. So,
my thought on this whole segment is I have learned with this and the mom talk and some of the other stuff that's happened. First off, very different than my Mormon experience.
Right.
At best, we were the best among us in my ward were low middle class, and the rest of us were something underneath that. And what I've learned over these stories is that if you have the more money you have in Mormonism, in a Mormon neighborhood, the nicer the neighborhood, the more income you've got, the more authentic you get to be, and the more ridiculous you get to be. And those are not a good mix. I mean, giving people space to be both authentic and ridiculous ends up with stuff like this.
Yeah, and I think about what we were covering over the summer about scenarios where, say, same-sex married couples were allowed to attend wards and given privileges that are not in other wards. Those were all affluent areas. So there does almost seem to be a different level of Mormonism that the rest of us were not really a part of at all. So, but I'm going to watch it, and I'm not dissing it. I'm saying, this is the kind of stuff you watch while you're on your treadmill, right? Just to see. So I will report back. One last little thing about the media, our very own Heather Gay of Bad Mormon. We all remember that, talk about the church fighting back. She is a real housewife of Salt Lake City, and she wrote a book a year or so ago called Bad Mormon, which is what she called herself on the show. I'm a bad Mormon. And the church fought her over that trademark, for all of her merch. Well, she's come out with a new book. This is Good Time Girl, where she's kind of come into her own. A lot of us got the chance to see her at Thrive in Utah County. There's a picture of, I know you can't tell us apart, but Heather's the one in the middle.
There's a similarity.
You think so? I don't know. I was making a joke, of course. And that's Landon, my co-host, on the other side. But she was amazing. Like I didn't know much about her except for from The Housewives. She was incredible in her presentation that she gave, and she was just extremely down to earth and really interesting, her perspective on leaving Mormonism. And she said her first book she wrote right out of the gate, it kind of happened, her faith crisis, right on the program. Very interesting to watch. This new book is she's coming to her own, and she has a lot more things to say. So this drops, gosh, I think maybe just tomorrow or something, very, very soon. So grab a copy of this. Heather's wonderful, and we'll probably have more to talk about with her later going on.